everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I wanted to do a final flip through of this journal I shared last week. I truly intended to come back before now and show you the final flip through, but I've just been very busy. I know we all are. I had some other projects that had to take precedence, and here I am now. This journal is already called for, but I did want to show you the things that I added. One of them being this really pretty, it's like a gathered trim of some sort that's been pulled off of a piece of fabric. So if you pull it really hard, you're going to pull out the gathering, and you can see there are some threads here from where it was attached to something else. I distressed it, and I just think it's really pretty. You can use this in other projects or leave it tied around the journal. There we go. You might remember some of the charms here. We have an old key. There is an old, it's almost like a, it's not a washer, some sort of fitting that goes to something. I found that in a parking lot. A little mushroom bead, and this was part of a necklace, and there are several pieces still attached there. This one is bound with a really sort of, it's almost like an army fatigue green hemp cord. So getting inside, this one is very distressed. It has some really fun crinkly paper. There's a piece of fabric right in the front that came from a little girl's dress that I think might have been vintage. I'm not exactly sure, but I just loved the fabric in this. I don't work with a lot of yellows or really dark greens, but you know, there are some colors that I really do like, and that I like that yellow. And I think it fits in with the rest of the distressing. There's one of the guest checks that I embellished, and then in here is just a little booklet that's been distressed, and the edges have been dipped in gold paint. I know some of you have already seen this, but I did want to do a final complete flip through. This pocket here in the front is 3 layers. So 3 pockets there, and then these are just some distressed book pages and things. I love old things like this. And that's actually got some pencil markings on it where I tried to do a, what do you call that? Like a pencil, I guess, is it a pencil rubbing? I'm not sure. Let's see, it's got the pretty charm on the front, lots of layers, lots of staining. And then really just a variety of papers with a lot of coffee staining. There is probably some vanilla in here. I think there's some tea staining. That's just off of an old folder. And then a page from a butterfly book. This journal, I think it smells really good. You can smell the coffee, but you can smell the variety. Just the paper, the old paper, maybe a little bit of vanilla. This is a little piece of a book page that I found the other day of a bunny, and the color is just so perfect for this. So I just put it in between the pages. Old piece of lace that's been distressed, and just a pretty piece of scrapbook paper, some stamping, and there's a little loan payment slip that's been turned into a pocket, and there's a man. I wrote Dandy, or stamped Dandy on the back of him. He looks like he could be responsible for taking money for loans. And let's see, I just love all of this distressing. And there's a little dragonfly charm on a safety pin. This is a pretty image. That too looks like an old book page. I found that the other day while out shopping, and I decided just to tuck that in. I love how that just blends right in with all of these colors. There's the pretty piece of paper from my desk that's got the really cool water stain. And this card was in here. I added this. I'm not sure what was in here. That was in the ephemera that I bought the other day as well. And then this, I think the recipient will like this image. This is just, it's made to look like a Polaroid picture. But if you can see the skull, the butterfly, it's just a really neat image. So I tucked that in. The color's perfect too. And I love this trim with the roses. And let's see, a stamp. There's some little a little strip of lace, and that's been hand stitched in with some upholstery thread. More distressing. I love the butterfly. And white gel pen, I wrote specimen number 9. And old music. Here's a couple of the pages I stained with the pokeberry. So these are completely dry and they're in there. I love the butterflies. I love gluing them down and then using black alcohol ink. In this little pocket, this is a distressed image that I had before, but then I added this card, and I know my friend who bought this journal, she would love this. This is 4 different pieces of vintage lace pinned onto just an old scrap of like cardstock, and that's really old and beautiful. So I decided to put that into this little pocket. Another butterfly. And the paper ruffles, I have to get some more of those listed. I do love using those, and I love having them in the shop. And there's the center. You can see just a couple of little narrow pockets and some stamping, alcohol ink. There's an old note. We looked at that before, Sacred Heart College, and it does look like a little note between maybe 2 young ladies talking about maybe a fellow that they were interested in. And this lady talks about, or this young girl talks about dancing. She said, "I danced a whole hour tonight without stopping. I'm really proud of myself. I didn't know I could hold out so long." So just a really sweet little note there. And then there's a rusty beer bottle cap that I found, and that's put on with a brad. And I have just painted a few little roses throughout. Another butterfly, and I do love this. That's the bookmark on an old stained piece of cotton fabric, and it says, "You are here." And then I just sewed the little leaf on. There's a vintage Audubon card with a pretty bird on it. I love this one because that plant in the back looks like mountain laurel to me. It's really beautiful. I'm not sure that's what it is. Those leaves also make me think about magnolia, but it's just a really pretty plant. And let's see, old music, more distressing, just a little ad that I've copied and printed out and distressed. And the paper, this paper is so crinkly. I love it. A lot of this paper is baking paper and just really distressed paper. Under here is a place to write, and I've reinforced that with a couple of pieces of file folder that are glued into place. And there's just a pretty little piece of scrapbook paper. There's a bee that I drew, and a really pretty little card here I found while I was out the other day. That, I believe, is from Victorian Trading Company. I love the stuff they have. And then there's that piece of fake money and another ad that's been reproduced. Stamped the word junk there. Pretty piece of scrapbook paper, another rose, and I stamped the word rose there. Big paper doily. There's more of the baking paper. Butterfly page. And then here you might remember this old piece of paper that tells about tic-tac-toe. There is a layaway card that's been distressed. A beautiful stamped image there. Old music flash card. And here under the bulldog clip, I think that's what that's called, a piece of a file folder that's been distressed, and there's a piece of lace at the bottom. And then here is another part of that little girl's dress. I love this color, and I thought the owl was adorable. So I just pinned this in. It's got the buttons on it. And Gracie, this might be part of a page that you sent to me. So this is old fixtures from a page from Sears and Roebuck, and then a distressed page with the bee on it. I like to try practicing that bee. And then we get to the back, and there's my stamp. So that is the whole theme. Got all these wonderful threads, and you can trim those if you want to. Thank you so much for ordering from me and for your support, and especially for your friendship. I'm very happy that we met, and I will be thinking about you, and I will talk to you soon, I'm sure. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.